I was like, you don't want me to do this.
I want you to look at it.
Ready? I was
Jen, one on your back. Back up, Jen, back up. There you go. Perfect.
You'll do it. You too. Whiplash on the board, 1-0. If you've been joining us for our broadcast here, welcome to OUC 2013. This is mixed division. This is the first crossover game, I believe, and it features Whiplash in purple versus Alliance in white. And they're represented, of course, by the little gray background color that we have. Just gonna do a quick test. Everything seems to be functioning quite well, so it's good to hear so far. If you do have issues, please let us know.
I just didn't get there fast enough. It came over my head and I just went like that and I was chasing it.
Yeah, you were so close. It's not easy.
All right. So Whiplash got here by beating Glide, which was the number 2 seed at this tournament. That's a pretty big and important win. And Alliance finished second in their pool. I believe they had come in seeded 9th, formerly Yar. And Alliance goes end to end. Almost. And it's tied up at 1s. I don't believe we've seen any breaks so far. But I kind of missed a little bit of the first point while I was setting up the stream. Any case, hope the stream is working for you. Drop the bitrate even more now in order to try and make sure that this works. So Whiplash out of KW. It started last year, and then this year the system actually went to 3 teams. All 3 are here. Whiplash is the A team, 2 is the B team, and Default is the C team, so to speak. Now, all of those are actually based upon whether you can play at that level or also your commitment to the touring program and how much you can commit to. So it's been fairly good. Alliance is a combination of teams, hence the name Alliance. They also were previously known as Yar, but needed to pick up some players. Definitely a big game for Alliance to be here, as well as Whiplash. They both had to upset a team in order to be here. John Hines with the disc. Dan makes a somewhat slower kind of move in. There's a zone now being played by Alliance. And there is a injury call. And there was either a slap. I heard a snap as well. At the same time, so he's sounded painful and looks painful as well, but he's just walking it off much like a pirate does. And Yar, by far one of my favorite teams. So biased commentary for them. Last year they upset Union, I believe, and there's a number of teams. They are typically underrated. Alliance, also big important team. Dan now moving to Jade. Back to John in the middle. Heather. And this is a piece of that on the disc. The zone is slowing everything down, but not hyper effective just yet. Back to Dan. And then going far side floater to the, I don't know what my eyesight's like. Melt called, and it was a little bit late. And after a little bit of movement, but not trouble against the zone, Whiplash make it 2-1. Now the next few points is where we start to have our first turns and where we start to see the differences between the teams. And those shall develop over the game as they feel each other out. Both of these teams fighting for spots to CUC. Whiplash with their upset wins and finishing where they did in their pool are looking like a pretty solid team to make nationals at this time. And comfortably as probably the second or maybe the third seed out of Ontario, which would be a big jump up from last year. Now, we also don't have Prodigy from last year and a few of the other teams like Mud. So it is to some degree a position that they are slotting into. Now, the talent has been split amongst others. BFC is, of course, stronger as are others, and Whiplash appears to be jumping up ahead of them. Now, the win over Glide points to problems in Glide system as well for regionals now. They might not be bringing as strong a team today as many have opted to bring different teams. We'll see how it pans out. Overall, I think that this is a fairly well choreographed play. Unfortunately, just a little bit of wind pulled that up and floated it out. The wind's coming from the right to left down the field now. Quite a bit of sun. Clouds off in the distance, but they won't play a part in this game, maybe the next game. Back into a zone now. Now on the line. Oh, and a fantastic D there. Absolutely fantastic. They've gone to three handlers, four cutters in the end zone. Some issues. Oh, and a great move to get to the front. An Alliance maintain. And it's 2-2. All right, we still seem to be having stream issues. We dropped the bandwidth substantially. Just going to see what we can do about that later on tonight. As said, sometimes it just stabilizes and other times it starts dropping out a lot. There's nobody in that tent area, so I have maximized the connection, I think, to its full potential. Between the next point, I'll have a look at the stream, see what the bandwidth's like. Megs with the disc. OB called. We'll have to look at that on replay. The call on the field was that you were touching the cone when you grabbed it, which would indicate that he's out. But I did not have perspective on that one. John with the disc. This zone is actually remarkably pretty good. And look, and an injury. And that hurts. It hurts because Alliance is playing very well. And there goes another player that actually played in Waterloo. And back, John. Zone is reacting well, and they're looking around. Oh, and my goodness, that's. I think the layouts from this team and the touches they've had are just fantastic. And he's blading it up, and it's into traffic, and he gets the point. Willing to throw and catch the tough stuff. We have Alliance taking the lead with the first break, 3-2. I thought this would have been an easier game for Mavericks so far, but a timeout taken. They're just going to be getting themselves together. That zone of Alliances is putting a lot of pressure. I think Whiplash needs to adjust some of their handlers to ensure their O-line has 4 against the zone. Right now they only have 3 against the zone, and they're waiting for Dan there. You really need to go to that one very mobile handler against the zone, and to cycle on that as well. In any case, refocusing. That was the timeout where I was supposed to go and check on things, but there's been quite a bit of support to do. In any case, not necessarily an important point for either team at this point in the game. There's no momentum so far to gain or break. Well, to gain, Alliance would need this break and then another, and that would give them a pretty good roll. The question will be is how efficient is Alliance's offense, and how efficient can it stay? Here we go. John collects the disc, centers it. It's going to go back to John, and the zone comes in and collapses in the cup. And into the ground. Fortunately, John tried for it. And there's a free lady. Just easy, another break. Alliance has to be careful at this point. Not to get too amped up, and they might crash later as a result. The line's being called now. It's a strong line going out. Some of the lady handlers haven't been called. We've had a couple of errors by, I think, Megan, in the red hat. And aside from that, it looks like a pretty good line. And even with Meg on there, it's pretty decent. I think it's important because once you have a player go on and play with a confident line, it brings that one player back up. And not saying that she's necessarily down, but she has made a couple of errors so far and is usually does not make those errors. So a bit unexpected. Next field over, I think we're watching Glide versus Bled or BFC versus Bled. Not quite sure. Big pull goes up. And John Eric brought into handle the very back. Once again, we have a zone. Swung around to Dan this side and very close again. And this is, now there's a little bit of a jailbreak. But this is some of the issues that we've been saying is close on the layouts. Whiplash. Work it up the field just with momentum. And score an important point for them. This next one here is important for Alliance. They're up the brakes. They need this one to show their efficient O. And then get their D back on against whatever line Whiplash puts on. Wind, a little bit steady, still coming from, it's coming actually from the right now a little bit more. Fairly nice. The game following this one will be Maverick versus GT. Important one. The winner of that game will likely be the team that will face Phoenix in the finals. An important indicator for Maverick to understand where they stand compared to a few of the other teams. Whiplash with a big pull. Gonna hit and let it go. It's still man. Actually, zone coming now. This is interesting. This is a little bit windy. Very good against. And they're melting. It's a little bit of tricky position here. And that was it. That was the problem, is that she held onto the disc too long. Good movement. Oh, they're very aggressive from Alliance at the same time. Oh, and a fantastic layout, D. This is the thing Alliance has been doing. We've seen it all game. Law and injury now, but we see it time and again. They have come around and made that layout. And they have really, like in this game, we've seen it 3 or 4 times. That willingness has given them so many turns and so many chances. Now the zone will go back on. They've shown they can break out of it, but can they do it here? The wind's picked up a little bit. There's a deep option available. Oh, great movement through the middle. I like playing against zone and I do those sort of things, so. Oh, and Ashley. Risky, but. Oh, and a very, as I said, an important point for them. They maintained it, but also important. Whiplash has shown they can get the turn. Not only can they get the turn, albeit on a little bit of an error, but they can put the pressure on and make those passes come through. It's a great play by both teams on that point. The D by Alliance to get that point back, clutch in the end zone. Very important. Oh, they did it. Yeah, the tournament providers. Yeah. So big thank you again to the, oh no worries, I was just chatting with Bacon here, but big thank you again to the tournament organizers here in Kingston Ultimate. Great fields, they have a great setup, lots of physio, medical. All right, this is a big point now. Alliance is up 2 breaks. This one could cause Whiplash issues. Still a long game, though. Whiplash's depth is far greater. And there's a pressure! And that's it. They're absolutely willing to reach. Take those risks. And there'll be another over the top one here. Will it stay in? Unfortunately not. But they're willing to throw it. And they're willing to throw it because they can go out and get the D. Very impressive. And Whiplash is very likely to make nationals, but they need to clean this up. And their inability to play against the zone so far is a little bit disturbing. Great catch by Heather. Great cut as well, and good for Dan to see that. Admittedly, Whiplash's A-line can actually operate and function quite well against the zone. They might not be awake either yet, just so to speak. A little bit of an issue there. Both players seem to be okay.
That totally looked over-exaggerated. Yeah.
So foul is being called and not contested. And there goes the D. Right back in. It's a taxi as well on the middle. And on Dan a little bit, or as soon as he goes out to side, the zone against. And then there's jailbreaking. He's really, they've got the mid is allowed to wander. And they're melting now. It's going to be a throw over the top, or it's easy when they get near that red zone. Good point for Whiplash, though. What should be cause for concern is that throwaway in the end zone by Alliance was not forced. Whereas all the turns that Whiplash has thrown, pretty much, the Alliance have caused.
Go, Erica. Let's see some magic. Come on, Too Sharp.
Pardon me?
Get it together.
Thanks. I would say the same to you guys, but
Oh, too soon, too soon.
no, I'm okay, thanks. Being heckled a bit, my umbrella fell off, and I deservedly deserved that that heckling. It's a little bit of a short pull, and it's allowed movement to start up earlier, and it's a man, and that's going to be a problem. Unless they can get the turn here, which they can, with the good boxing. Oh. So the zone now coming back from the Alliance. With John Eric back there, it should be relatively easy for Whiplash to walk up the field. Oh, and a turn. Danritz. Oh. Unfortunately, that one also sailed out.
I'm learning. I'm getting better.
Let's see if they can go and get another turn. Turn. Oh, frustrations there. And Alliance just throwing a bit of a flutter into the end zone, but they're picking up the swill. (6-4). With a break now, Alliance could take half, and that would be a big deal. I think if anything, and timeout has been called. I think if anything could be said here, it shows the inconsistency in the mixed division right now. And so, with these inconsistencies, and by the way, if you're watching Andrew Batchelor, I apologize for the issues you're having. I am going to work on trying to figure them out tonight, trying to reproduce them as well, and going to see if it's an issue with the consistent connection or not, and just try a different setup and try and get it working. Well, while we're waiting during this timeout, let's look at the other game. What's going on? This point was just scored over there. I believe that is BFC. I could be mistaken. And it is BFC versus Glide. Now this game, that game was supposed to happen over here if the seedings had been kept. But because seedings aren't kept, they're on the other field. And that is the Battle of Ottawa. A teams, which is the A team over there. The last point just scored by Glide. So bonus game here during this timeout. I think at least it is a timeout. I don't know if they took a half or not. 1, 2, 3, pedal down! Anyhow, wind is gusting now. Sorry, that was halftime. I guess I'll have to get the score. Jason, what's the score? 7-5? Okay. So, sorry, I've been off by 1. Score is presently 7-5, which makes what Alliance has done a big deal. I was wondering why the timeout was taking so long. So we're just going to update the scores here. There you have it. Okay, 7-5 at half. Thank you for all those watching on the mobile stream. Apparently I have fixed that issue somehow without understanding what I fixed. Whiplash is pulling here in the second half. Wind is significantly stronger. Alliance has shown themselves to be stronger in the air and stronger on the layout. Whiplash has the maturity though. And that's going to be important going into the second half. A zone. It's a monster. 2 years. And then just a wide open. There is no pressure right now. They're moving it very well. They need to just get it to the middle, and here's the pressure. Great job. See that? So they're going with a zone as their default, and it's set up, and they're having troubles moving. It's back to Denise, swung again. This is, never seen Whiplash struggle this much against the zone. But here it comes over the top. Just read really well. Now there's no splitting going on either, or overloading. That was good. Just moving it up the line, it was a good throw. Oh, and unfortunately, a bit of impatience. They're doing gonna try and give and go. Ooh, a lot of disorganization here, and it's set up, and there is a deep player. He's gonna do it. And he's short, and he didn't call a foul on that, even though there was contact. I guess it didn't affect it. Oh my goodness, another turn. This Alliance is putting on a clinic here. And then there's going to be they're going to try for a break. They're having trouble still moving it on O. Oh, but then an open side lady. This is important because they start off by maintaining, but that defense. For me, Whiplash being a nationals level team, having only made it once, but yes, many of the players here having made nationals on other teams. And in their second year, looking to go nationals again, and then Alliance, with all that's happened this year in terms of their instability, the yard, the splitting, the personnel differences, and then coming here and just playing with this energy, it's refreshing to see.
That's the space they're leaving. Yeah.
For those of you at home, I hope I'm adequately describing the situation here. I can overhear the Alliance sideline and see how they're joking around there constantly. Even when they throw it away, they're having fun. And you're probably hearing the Whiplash sideline, which admittedly is still having a good time, but is in a weird situation.
We're looking up and all three of you guys are coming in. Well, that's fine. I'm just saying, we can get figured out amongst the cutters.
Once again, a zone. And the more times that zone is played and creates a turn, the more nervous Whiplash will get against it. But good things you have a veteran. Oh. Melt called. And a grab by Kristen Dearden in the end zone. That's an important one. We almost had a turn there. The entire sideline said, ooh. Just as that, the one throw came through. And I just overheard him saying he was one step away from laying out on that. If he'd laid out on that, that right there would have been Whiplash's confidence against a zone. However, right now, Whiplash is feeling pretty good. They've gotten through that zone, and quite a couple of times they know they can beat Alliance one-on-one. But the question I'm asking myself right now is we don't have much wind, and there's a zone that's causing a lot of issues for Whiplash. What happens if there's wind and Alliance is playing that zone and they're playing against another team? Will those teams as well struggle? What do you think? Let me know. Let me know from as much of the stream as you can make out. I know quite a few of you would have opinions on what's going on, say it's too early to call. This is an exciting game. All right. appears to be Man O coming down from Whiplash at this time. That's just a guess. As this travels, I'll let you know more. Is. Oh, that's a great put and a great run. They've done this twice now. They've had the chance to do it 4 times. I've messed up 2 times, admittedly, because they were playing around a little bit. But 9-6 Alliance. This is where we can start talking about momentum and adrenaline. If Alliance don't keep it together, there's a distinct possibility that they could give up momentum at this time. Whiplash, still calm, still confident, still an excellent team, and can make up this deficit easily. The question will be whether they can get through that zone confidently. Because that's what we know is coming right now. We know it's a zone. Bit more wind now. Now it's coming from the left to the right. It's not swirling at any point in the field. It's just steady left to right now. I think directly almost from the corner where you can see that observer on the other field. That's where the wind's coming from. Not that observer, but that direction. Getting a little bit excited there on for the defense. These Lions players have taken already quite a bit of a beating in this game, and they're still going. And it is a zone. It's a bit of a different zone. It's a 2. It's a wedge. And their mid is very active. There's not a lot of overloading happening here, and that's the sort of risky throw that could very easily become a turn. But John again with a confident throw across, recovering relatively easily. I apologize for not going with that give and go, but it stopped right there. And it collapsed, and there's a seam through the middle, and a turn. That's what's been hurting them. Really need to figure that out. And they're looking for the deep. Oh, good break.